Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Test Those Breasts podcast. I am your host, Jamie Vaughn. I'm a retired teacher of 20 years and a breast cancer thriver turned staunch, unapologetic, loud supporter and advocate for others, bringing education and awareness through a myriad of medical experts, therapists, caregivers, and other survivors. A breast cancer diagnosis is incredibly overwhelming with the mounds of information out there, especially on Dr. Google. I get it. I'm not a doctor, and I know how important it is to uncover accurate information, which is my ongoing mission through my nonprofit. The podcast includes personal stories and opinions from breast cancer survivors and professional physicians, providing the most up-to-date information at the time of recording. Evidence, research, and practices are always changing, so please check the date of the recording and always refer to your medical professionals for the most up-to-date information. I hope you find this podcast a source of inspiration and support from my guests. Their contact information is in the show notes, so please feel free to reach out to them. We have an enormous breast cancer community ready to support you in so many ways. Now let's listen to the next episode of Test Those Breasts. Hi, friends. Welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with Mara and David Langer. In part 1, we heard their incredible story of navigating breast cancer together, including Mara's diagnosis during pregnancy. In this second half, we continue the conversation with practical advice for getting through treatment, David's perspective as a partner and caregiver, the importance of knowing and advocating for your body, and something we don't talk about nearly enough: what happens when treatment ends and you're left wondering, now what? There is so much wisdom in this part of our conversation. So let's jump back in with Mara and David. What are some of the practical things that help during treatment, and what advice would you give to someone beginning chemotherapy? Like for me, one of the most amazing things that one person told me was create a healing room. And so all my friends came together with Farrell and they created a healing room for me so I could go and just be there. What kind of things would you say?
Friend do something similar. They created a healing circle where they brought different things and explained why this was going to help me through my treatment. It was really beautiful. It was lovely. I hadn't thought about that for a long time. You just reminded me of that. So back to David's comment that we're both A-type personalities, is that I was very organized and thoughtful about where I needed help, what kind of help we needed, trying to get David as much relief and normalcy that he could, as well as our daughter, Malia, all the play dates and stuff like that. So I was prepared. I'm pausing because you're never quite prepared. That first chemo is your worst nightmare. Mm-hmm. And that's your most anxious, I think, that you'll ever be. The surgeries are one thing, the post-treatment's another thing, but that first chemo, because you just don't know how your body is going to react to it. I happened to have a course of adriamycin Cytoxan. I couldn't go dose dense because I was pregnant. I had to have it every 3 weeks. And then, the other treatments that I mentioned. And I know that they don't necessarily have those same cocktails anymore, but adriamycin goes in red. They call it the red devil. And they call it the red devil for a reason, because they have to pump it in really slowly because it's so toxic. And then you pee it out. And so here I am pregnant, right? And thank goodness someone told me that your first pee is going to be bright red, because if I hadn't have known, I would have just panicked right there, right? It was, that was quite an experience. So the more kind of kitschy things you can share with people, or people can share with you, these oddities, right? It helps so much. The regularness is there. You have to find that too, but it's these little things, like you're saying, like a healing room or what you're going to pee red, or whatever it is. I think the other piece of it is this knowledge that no diagnosis is the same. No pathology. I mean, maybe the pathology is the same, but the person's different, right? So how you're going to experience it, what your outcome is going to be, and to listen to your body and allow your body to heal during the time that it needs, right? Don't push yourself. This is your body and your opportunity to take it slow and to listen and to allow others to help you. It's so hard. It's so hard. but you have to allow your body and the doctors to give you the medicines and the opportunities to be able to fight this, because it
Yeah.
is a fight. The other thing I did, you're reminding me, is I did something called healing touch, where it was like energy work. And I believe in Western medicine. I believe in alternative medicines, but some of it's like kind of hokey pokey to me. And that was one of the things. But I'll tell you, I would get up off that table and I would be flushed. And I'm like, okay, if this got out all the bad stuff and left all the good stuff to fight, I am more than happy to do this as many times as it would. And it gave me an hour to fall asleep on the table when I was
Yes.
pressed,
Yes.
right? You have to look at those little like gifts that you're given along the way. The Benadryl I was given before every chemo treatment, I got to take a half an hour nap. I was like, great, this is awesome.
Yeah, because during chemo, I mean, you would think that you would just be able to go sleep it off, but you can't. Yeah, I mean, like I would be so tired and just want to take a nap, and I would doze off and I'd wake up and it was like 2 minutes later. It's like, what? Why can't I nap? So I did Reiki.
Yeah.
That's the what I did all the way through chemo, and that was wonderful. I
Yeah.
loved that.
So finding that like sugar and spice that like
Yeah.
helps you have
Yeah.
another dimension even, right? Like those
Mhm.
little power naps that allowed you to like kind of take yourself out of the situation. The other thing we haven't touched on yet, and I do want to bring this up because I think it's important for your listeners to hear, is this whole thing of going through a cancer treatment while you're pregnant. There are documented progress of children who have been in utero and go through this. In our case, the chemo molecule is so big, this adriamycin cytoxin, the molecules are so big that they don't pass the placenta. You hear of all these horrible things, right? Like you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't do whatever, right? There's all these things like that you have to protect the baby, you have to have pasteurized cheese, like all these things, right? And so thinking that here I have these cells that are multiplying and developing and creating a living form within my body, and then there's these toxic chemicals coming in that are supposed to destroy these other cells that could be trying to kill me. It was this bizarre dichotomy. I mean, really bizarre. And I would literally sit there with my hands on my belly and visualize these molecules bouncing off of my placenta and the placenta protecting this child. And Jamie, that kid came out with more hair than I did at the time. He was a healthy, vibrant, his name's Ari, which in Hebrew it means lion. And he came out roaring and he's never stopped. I mean, this is like a vibrant kid and it's a miracle. Our bodies are miracles. And in survivorship, thrivership, I think there's a lot of talk about our body letting us down. Like we went through this process and our body really let us down. Like, how could we have been,
Mhm.
what did we do wrong? How did we get this diagnosis? Where did this come from? It is what it is. Like to dwell on that, you're not going to be able to get through it in a healthy manner. Look at the flip side of it, that it was found. You have these opportunities to fight it. You have these drugs and this ammunition, and you can make it out on the other side. And our bodies are incredible machines,
Mhm. Yeah, you can be all mad about it and stomp around and cry and do all those things. And then like, let's get to work. Like,
right?
and that visualization is very helpful. I had a phoenix. So I've got a big tattoo on my
Yeah.
neck. The phoenix, every time I got the chemo, I would visualize it coming into my body and fighting
It's
off.
powerful. The mind is a powerful thing. Yeah.
It's interesting when you first started talking about this particular topic before the pregnancy one, you were talking about how the unknown before going into chemo, it's very difficult. And I remember talking to one of my friends. I was telling her how scared I was. And she says, what is it that you're scared of? Because she had gone through it. And I said, I'm afraid that monsters are going to come in. I was like visualizing this awful stuff because it's the unknown. And she goes, I really wish that you were already through your first treatment. That way you would have an understanding of what it looked like, what it felt like, and it wouldn't be an unknown anymore. I do have one other question for you, Mara, and one other question for you, David. And I want to start with David. And maybe this has already happened to you, but we want to reach other partners, husbands, boyfriends, who, wives. What would you say to another husband, wife, partner who just found out that their loved one has got breast cancer?
Yeah. The first phase is to take a deep breath and allow yourself to process the news, because that's the hardest thing. It's so unbelievable. And just know that you're on a journey, and that this journey has going to have a lot of twists and turns, and that communication is going to be key to really helping you through the process. And know that you can turn to others that have been through this, because it's okay to ask. It's okay to have uncertainty, because that's all part of this process. You're going to have to go through this process with yourself and with your partner, and to be there and be strong for your partner and be strong for yourself, and make sure that you're also taking care of yourself, because I think that's an important piece of this puzzle. Is don't forget that you need to go out with some friends and have some downtime as well. And one additional thing that I like to talk to people about, because the internet is so immense of data and information, is to try to be careful about going out to research too much information. Really take you down some paths. We say, don't think about the what ifs of the world. Let's just be much more present about the things and the stages that we're in, much less about all the things that could happen or would happen, or, whatever down the line. Try to be closer to what's going on and the decisions that need to be made next, as opposed to trying to get down the line of thinking about, what happens if I don't have her? Those things, is just to try to help yourself be present. And again, you're in this together, and and it's okay to get help. Don't be shy, because this is a process, and lots of other people have been through it, and they want to help you. If you're interested, they're there to support you.
I'm a huge supporter of couples who go to therapy too. I will say that I think that my husband and I are still married today because of that. We have gone to therapy on and off throughout our whole entire marriage. We have gone through it through the cancer, after the cancer, because, when you get married, and they say in sickness and in health and all the things, we don't know what the heck that means. We do, but we don't, it's like, and I have interviewed quite a few people who got married and a year later were pregnant and have breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you said in sickness and health, but you didn't think it was going to happen that fast. Right. Mm-hmm. But it's just, it can happen at any time of your life. And we know that marriages, when you're married long enough, things change. You both grow together or you don't. And it's a constant upkeep. It's like upkeeping your car, right?
Yeah.
Got to do these oil changes.
You need a tune-up. Everyone needs a tune-up once in a while. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Nope, not at all. Thank you, David. That is such great advice. And I'm super thrilled that you were able to join us today, because I think that these conversations are critical to have out there. Mara, what about you? What would you actually say? Because this is really good for you, because you knew about breast cancer. You were familiar with your body. But a lot of women are not, and they don't take the time to go get things checked out because we're too busy. What kind of piece of advice would you give to someone who has never been diagnosed?
I often speak to people who have never been diagnosed, and I want to go back to that family history, understanding your family history. Ask those questions, not just about breast cancer, about your family's health overall. The more we know about historical diabetes, heart disease, other cancers, the odds are that 1 in 3 Americans are going to have some form of cancer in their lifetime. Those are staggering statistics and totally intimidating. But our life expectancy is over 85 years old now, right? So the advancements in medicine are taking us on a longer path of life, but also with that comes environmental and health risks of age. And so the more we know about it, the more we can communicate with our healthcare professionals, and the more we can stay in front of it is the better, right? I truly, truly believe in mammograms. I've heard so many women who say, I'm not going to do that. The radiation exposure, the this, the that. You know what? I'm sorry, but taking a flight anywhere exposes you to more radiation than you would over the course of your lifetime on mammograms. Living where we live, having the airport right here, we have airplanes over us all the time. When we lived in the Bay Area, we were in a triangle of airports. Like that radiation is out there whether you want it or not, and being able to take your breast health in your hands and having those mammograms, and maybe you don't do it annually, maybe you do it every 2 years, whatever the diagnostic is that your healthcare professional suggests, do it. If you have dense breasts, make sure that you get mammograms and ultrasounds in conjunction, right? Because dense breasts, it's not that they're more prone to breast cancer, actually. It's that they're more prone to be missed on a mammogram because it's hidden. The way that the breast tissue is presented in a mammogram is different than a regular breast tissue. And so it could be undetected. So if you have those alternating mammograms and ultrasounds, you're more likely to catch something. If something doesn't feel right to you, if a doctor doesn't respond to you the way you want them to respond to you, go get another opinion.
Yes.
This is not a hairdresser. This is not a person that you have to have a long-term relationship with. And by the way, you don't have to do that with your hairdresser either. But
Right.
if you don't like what your doctor says, if you don't like what the oncologist says, if you don't like their bedside manner, it's okay to research and find other alternatives. Once the cancer is detected, yes, you want it out of you as soon as possible. But 10 days, 3 weeks, it's not going to make that much of a difference if you find the right solution that feels comfortable for you. Finally, you need to check your boobies. I'm sorry. Everybody does. Men do, women do, teenage girls do. Our breasts are changing all the time, depending on our hormone levels, depending on what it is that we're eating, where we are in our cycle, whatever it is, our breasts are changing all the time. So know where your breasts are within the phase of your monthly life, so that if you feel something at the beginning of your cycle and you're like, ooh, I hadn't felt that before, track it. And if you feel like it's something you have to get looked at right away, get it looked at. But you can also track it and see, oh, that only happens when I start my cycle, right? Or that only happens as I'm in the middle of my cycle, or whatever it is. Get to know your body. Get to know all of your body.
Yes.
I mean, David actually has this lump on his elbow that he hadn't felt before, and he's going in for an ultrasound because we just don't know. It's better to be safe than not to know. Do not ignore something. I said you can track it, but do not ignore it. There's a lot of people who are like, well, what if I find out I have cancer? Then what's going to happen? And it's like, well, what if you don't? And then you ignore it. And I'm sorry, it's too late. Like, there's so many tragic stories like that. You have to get things looked at, and you have to talk to your healthcare providers about it. And if you don't want to do your own self-exams, if you're a little bit, like that feels weird, ask your partner, whoever ask somebody who you're somewhat intimate with to help you. They enjoy it. They like your boobs, right? They might even know your boobs better than you do because they enjoy them. Don't be shy and invite others to experience.
Well, and we shouldn't feel ashamed to talk about our boobies. Dr. Robin Roth is a breast radiologist, and I interviewed her a couple months ago. She wrote a book called Everyone Has Boobies, and it's for kids. And I bought it, and I read it to my 10-year-old granddaughter. And it's just like getting comfortable. It's like it's a lump of fat on your body, and all mammals have boobies. And so I love that the openness of talking about your anatomy. And this is also one of the reasons that I'm so focused on getting into where all the younger adults here in our area to teach them, using the Know Your Lemons curriculum and actually showing them how to do a real effective breast exam, because most people are, if they touch their breasts at all. Yeah, exactly. And I actually grabbed Farrell's, my husband's, hand when we were laying in bed one night, and I said, do you feel this? And he says, yeah, I feel that.
Right.
Yeah. So good, great advice.
And to I don't want to demystify them, right?
Mhm.
That's what you're talking about this book, like to demystify. They are these sexual components. And yes, they help with arousal in different ways and they feed children and they do all these different things. But like you said, they're just mounds of fat and you
Mhm.
have to take care of them, right? So to just demystify all that piece of I'm a boob guy or I'm a whatever, which my husband isn't, by the way, thank goodness. But
My
yeah,
husband is.
but it's just, I think it's really important to know your whole body, to know what's regular, what's not regular, and to address it when you do. The
Yep.
other thing that's really important is to realize that your healthcare professionals are only human.
Yeah.
They've gone through school. They should be experts. Like you went to New Orleans because there's actually doctors that do this all the time and have experience with it and should be better than others, but they're only human. I had a lot of people come back to me like, are you going to sue the doctor? Right? Because here it is in the tissue that was left behind. But my margins were clear. She did the job that she was supposed to do. And for whatever reason, this happened, right? I can't blame anybody about it. We just have to address it and get past it. I think those are, yeah, to just remember everyone's human. We all have to give each other grace. I have one more thing I want to talk about. I love the advocacy, the education, and the knowledge that you're putting out there. I think something that's missing in our cancer world is this thrivership, the survivorship. What happens the day after you finish? And I think that Natalie and her team at the Cancer Community Clubhouse is so critical around this because we've had so many people focus on us for this period of time to get through whether our surgeries, whether our treatments, whether our recovery, whatever it is, right? And suddenly you're like, I'm done with treatment. And then you're like, whew, like this is
Now what?
when now what? And we talk about that first chemo and how scary it is, and you just have to get past it. But this day after is almost scarier.
It
Who
is.
do I tell? How do I explain it? How do I move past, like, do I want to move past it? Do I want to take on this role that you and I have taken on? Or do I just want it to be part of my past? I have a girlfriend who would never be able to tell you her pathology, her treatment, anything. She had her husband take care of the whole thing because she wanted nothing to do with it. She was just like, I'm just going through it, don't tell me anything. And that was how she decided to deal with it. And our friends who are like helping us through this, they're like, oh, we got them to this point and now they're fine. Guys, we're
Yep.
not fine. We're
No.
not fine. We're trying to figure it out. It's even more scary than before the diagnosis because we don't have anything else. This arsenal I'm talking about, right? We don't have anything else to fight it. And suddenly we're left on this island and it's like, oh, life will be back to normal. There's no normal. It's a new normal. There's no normalcy in
Yeah.
anything after chemo, after a diagnosis of anything, right? It's a new normal and you have to figure it out.
Mhm.
And I think it's important for people to realize to give us grace through that as well and to not expect us to bounce back to who we were before. You're asking who was Mara before. I definitely had more energy. I had more interest in different things. I was always reaching for that next step of success, for that next gold medal, for that next thing that would make my life better.
Mhm.
And if there's a gift that this journey has given me, it's that I got the gift of presence. I got the gift of today and that I have to live in today and be grateful for it because tomorrow gives me something else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, thank you for sharing that because I do think it's really important for people to understand that. And I do remember after my treatments, and I look back and realize that I had retired from the school district. I was literally going into my first year of retirement. And 1 week after my retirement party is when I found out I had the cancer. And so I had to spend my first year of retirement, which is hard in itself for people who have been so busy with their jobs or whatever it is that they're
Mm-hmm.
doing to get
Uh-huh.
into this retirement space and try to figure out what am I going to do with my life. I had a plan, Mara. I was a podcaster. I had Be That Teacher podcast. I was going to help teachers struggling and new teachers in my retirement. And that completely turned on its head when I got this diagnosis. And when I got through the treatments and my first two surgeries, I was sitting there in February suspended in this space of, oh my God,
It's a
what am I going
suspense.
to do
Yeah.
now? It is so hard. And I truly appreciate your bringing that up because it is so true. We do not just pop back and get back to normal. It's different. It is harder, I would say. Looking back, it is harder. And I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that what I think it was 8, like I said, 8 years ago, whatever it was, that I met you and that we have come full circle to be able to do this interview. I appreciate your openness. I appreciate your giving me even a different way to look at things when it comes to cancer diagnosis. Is we all have so much to learn constantly. And David, thank you for being brave and helping your beautiful wife get through this, and Mara helping you get through it. I think it's just such a powerful story and really part of your love story. And thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up today, David?
I just appreciate your perspective. After you go through this, you develop a new perspective about things that are hard or challenging. And, you go through this and say, oh my God, this was so challenging. I'm like, well, look what we've gone through. This pales in comparison. So you kind of just, that perspective changes, and it just brings you to, a much different appreciation of what you have today and the connection that you have today with your partner.
For sure. For sure. How about you, Mara?
I think he summed it up so beautifully. I think I've shared a lot. And I do want to tell your viewers also that I'm always available as a resource, and David is always available as a resource. And we are really happy. I shouldn't say happy. Like David said, it's so funny to say this has been a gift of ours, but you kind of have to look at it as that perspective because it's shaped and formed us into the people that we are today. So we are open to speaking to other people. And if people have any questions or want to reach out to us, you have our information, Jamie. And
I do.
And I thank you for giving survivors, thrivers, partners, supporters, whoever, this platform to be able to share and to give back. It's definitely a service. And so thank you.
Oh, thank you, because it was my healing mechanism to begin with. And I found that it was helping other people. So it's a healing thing for all of us. And all of your information will be in the show notes. And I also do put any resources in the show notes on the website, testtosebreasts.org, under the resource tab. And so that's always helpful too. So, well, thank you very much to the both of you, David and Mara, and to my audience. Thank you again for showing up and listening to this episode. And we will see you on the next episode of Test Those Breasts. Bye for now. Friends, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Test Those Breasts. I hope you got some great, much needed information that will help you with your journey. As always, I am open to guests to add value to my show, and I'm also open to being a guest on other podcasts where I can add value. So please reach out if you'd like to collaborate. My contact information is in the show notes. And as a reminder, rating, reviewing, and sharing this podcast will truly help build a bigger audience all over the world. I thank you for your efforts. I look forward to sharing my next episode of Test Those Breasts.